What happens when a young man is wrongly kicked out of an airport, and the person who steps in isn't just anyone? It's none other than Barron Trump's mother, Melania Trump. Her response left everyone speechless and turned the entire situation upside down. You won't believe what happened next. But before we dive into this shocking story, if you enjoy unbelievable tales like this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. And hey, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. The airport was buzzing with activity. Travelers hurried through security. Families gathered around departure gates, and the usual hum of announcements filled the air. It was a typical busy day. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But amidst the chaos, there was one figure standing calmly, unnoticed by many. Barron Trump, tall and composed, moved through the crowd, seemingly just another passenger. Little did the staff know, this quiet moment would soon turn into a major event. Barron Trump wasn't causing a scene. He was calm, collected, and just going about his day. Dressed simply, walking through the busy terminal, he didn't seem out of place at all. Tall and composed, Barron blended in with the crowd, like any other young traveler. Alone, but carrying himself with quiet confidence, he looked like just another passenger trying to catch his flight. No one could have known he was about to become the center of an unexpected drama. Things took a sharp turn when the staff started questioning Barron. He hadn't done anything wrong, yet suddenly, he was treated like he didn't belong. The questions came one after another, all of them unnecessary. They asked him for his ID, then questioned why he was there, and it seemed like the more he explained, the less they cared. It was as if they'd decided, without any real reason, that he was someone they could push around. Barron, looking confused and a little frustrated, tried to stay calm, but it was clear. This wasn't the simple airport experience he was expecting. The staff's attitude was dismissive, almost as if they saw him as just another face to hassle. And that's when it started to feel personal. The situation quickly escalated. Barron, a young man who had been nothing but polite, was suddenly treated like a suspect. The staff's tone turned cold, their questions sharper, almost accusatory. It wasn't just the questioning, it was the way they looked at him, like he didn't belong there. They kept pushing, asking for things that didn't make sense, even suggesting he wasn't allowed to travel without any valid reason. The disrespect wasn't just in their words, it was in their actions too. At one point, they even told him to leave the area, as if he was causing trouble. For someone who had done nothing wrong, it was humiliating. He stood there, stunned, trying to process what was happening. But the staff didn't stop. They made it clear they weren't going to back down. And in that moment, Barron was left to face their unfair judgment, completely caught off guard. Here's the next part, focusing on the misunderstanding and the dismissive attitude of the staff. It was clear now. This wasn't about anything Barron had done. It was simply a case of judgment. The staff hadn't taken the time to understand who he was or why he was there. They assumed he was just another person trying to sneak through the airport without bothering to ask the right questions. Instead of offering help or even being polite, they treated him like an inconvenience, questioning his every move. Their tone was dismissive, almost as if they had already made up their minds. Barron tried to explain himself, but they weren't interested in listening. Every attempt to clarify only seemed to frustrate them more. They saw him as someone to control, not as a person with a story of his own. The more he tried to reason with them, the more they made it clear. They weren't interested in understanding. To them, he was just another face in the crowd, someone to be pushed aside, no matter the truth. The tension in the air was palpable. Barron, who had been trying to keep his composure, now found himself in a corner. The staff's tone grew harsher, their words more demanding. They weren't just questioning him anymore. They were accusing him of causing trouble. Without warning, they told him to leave the area or face consequences. "Leave now, or we'll have to call security," they said. Barron, taken completely by surprise, stood there, stunned. How did things get this far? He hadn't done anything wrong. But in that moment, the staff wasn't interested in hearing his side. They'd already made their decision. Barron was being pushed out, humiliated in front of everyone, with no chance to defend himself. It was a moment of utter frustration and disbelief, being treated this way for no reason at all. Just when things seemed like they couldn't get any worse, the atmosphere in the airport shifted. A calm, composed figure entered the scene. Melania Trump. She wasn't in a rush, but there was something about her presence that immediately drew attention. It wasn't the clothes she wore or the way she looked. It was the way she carried herself. She exuded a quiet confidence, as if she didn't need to say a word to command respect. She walked in with purpose, her eyes scanning the area, and when she approached the staff, the entire mood seemed to change. The people around her couldn't help but take notice. There was an unmistakable authority in the way she held herself, a natural power that only intensified the moment she stepped into the situation. Melania stepped forward, her presence immediately shifting the atmosphere. There was no rush in her movements, no sign of anger, just a calm certainty. She approached the staff with a quiet confidence that seemed to draw every eye in the room. As she walked, it was clear that this wasn't just any conversation. It was about to change everything. She didn't need to say a word yet, but her posture alone spoke volumes. The way she carried herself, poised yet powerful, made it evident that she wouldn't tolerate any further mistreatment of her son. She didn't raise her voice, but the moment she entered the conversation, everything changed. The room seemed to fall silent as the staff became acutely aware of her presence. It wasn't the volume of her words that commanded attention, but the authority in the way she stood. Every step she took was measured and deliberate, and the quiet strength she radiated made it impossible for anyone to ignore her. It was clear that this was someone who wasn't going to be dismissed or undermined. As Melania approached, she made direct eye contact with the staff. There was no hesitation, just a steady, unwavering gaze that communicated everything. In that brief moment, it was clear. This was no ordinary conversation. Her eyes told them she was not here for excuses or apologies. It was a look of quiet authority, as if to say, "I'm in control now, and you'll listen." The staff, once confident and dismissive, now found themselves caught off guard by the sheer power in her gaze. Without missing a beat, Melania addressed the staff, her voice calm but firm. "I'm here to make sure my son is treated with the respect he deserves," she said. Her words were simple, but they carried weight. There was no room for misunderstanding or debate. She wasn't just a mother speaking out. She was a woman standing up for what was right. Her tone left no doubt that this was a matter she took seriously, and she expected nothing less than the respect Barron deserved. Melania's tone remained steady, but there was no mistaking the authority in her words. "I would like an explanation," she said, her gaze never leaving the staff. "Why is my son being treated this way?" Her voice didn't waver, but the weight of the question hung in the air. She wasn't just asking for answers, she was demanding them. With every word, she made it clear that their actions were completely unacceptable. The staff, who had been so quick to judge Barron moments before, now found themselves facing a woman who wasn't going to let this injustice slide. Without raising her voice, Melania continued, her words clear and precise. "Barron has done nothing wrong. He is just a young man trying to travel like everyone else," she explained. "There is no reason for him to be questioned or told to leave." Her voice was calm, yet every word carried the weight of truth. She wasn't just defending her son, she was correcting a wrong that had been done. There was no doubt in her mind that Barron's treatment had been completely unjust, and she wasn't going to let that stand without challenge. With unwavering conviction, Melania made her stance clear. "As a mother," she said, her eyes steady, "I will not tolerate my son being disrespected like this." Her voice was firm, but the emotion behind her words was undeniable. It wasn't just about the situation at hand. It was about standing up for what was right. Melania's protective instincts as a mother were undeniable, and her message was clear. She would not let anyone mistreat her son, no matter who they were. The shift was immediate. The staff, who had been so sure of their authority just moments before, now stood frozen, caught off guard by Melania's powerful yet composed response. For the first time, their confidence wavered. Melania hadn't raised her voice, yet her words and presence had completely changed the dynamic. The air in the room seemed to thicken as the staff realized the weight of the situation they had just created. They were no longer in control. The tone of the interaction had shifted, and it was clear that they were facing someone who wouldn't back down. The staff, now on the defensive, struggled to find the right words. They were speechless, realizing too late that they had underestimated the power of a mother standing up for her child. The atmosphere in the airport shifted dramatically. The staff, who had once been so confident, now found themselves deeply regretting their actions. They realized they had made a huge mistake, treating Barron with suspicion and disrespect. The tension in the air was palpable, as they quickly started to apologize, stumbling over their words in an attempt to make things right. But Melania wasn't about to let them off the hook easily. She stood tall, her composure unwavering, as she looked at them one last time. "I hope you've learned something today," she said, her voice calm but carrying an undeniable weight. Her words were simple but powerful, leaving no room for excuses. Respect is something you should offer to everyone, no matter who they are. Her demeanor was nothing short of commanding. She didn't have to shout or argue. Her calm authority spoke for itself. The staff, now humbled and silent, nodded, fully understanding the lesson they had just learned. It was a moment that would stay with them for a long time. And as the staff stepped aside, Barron was finally allowed to continue on his way, his dignity restored, and the situation turned in his favor. The lesson was clear to everyone present. Respect is earned through actions, not assumptions. This story isn't just about fame or privilege. It's a reminder that respect should be given to everyone, regardless of who they are or where they come from. In life, we often make judgments based on appearances or assumptions, but we never truly know the full story behind someone's situation. The lesson here is simple. Treat others with kindness, fairness, and respect. After all, we all deserve to be seen and valued for who we truly are. And that's the takeaway from this story. A powerful reminder to treat everyone with respect, no matter who they are. If you enjoyed this video and believe in the importance of kindness, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with others. We've got more incredible stories coming your way. Thanks for watching, and let us know where you're watching from in the comments. Stay tuned for more.